Minnesota came up.
Oh, yeah.
But, they said it. They said it separately, both in the COVID hit, and it became just a weird situation for everyone. But look, now we're here. We're going to see this fight. And I believe that if Leon beats him, like, you can't deny the guy his title shot. You just got to – I don't care how it goes. I don't care if he survives, for the whole 3 rounds or whatever it is. You just got to give him his title shot after this, because Georgia just fought for the title against Usman. He lost, but he had also fought before that against the title, and then he lost that one as well. I mean, he's fought guys that have fought for the title. It's just like, come on, man, what are we doing? I think this is where a lot of people have a hard time with what the UFC does when they're the ones that they make their own rankings. They pick and choose who they want to fight for the title, and majority of the time, it makes sense.
It works out.
I would say, yeah, it makes sense. It works out. It makes sense. I would say 98, 99% of the time, it makes sense. I understand for the business model. I get what they're doing. But in this situation, you have a guy like Leon. He's what? He's won 9 or 10 in a row now.
10 in a row, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, it's getting to that John Fitch stage where I think John Fitch had won like 11 or 12 in a row.
But that's part of the problem with him.
Yeah. I'm going to put this out there the easiest way. Like, MMA math does not compute all the time. But let's take a look at a fight between George Masvidal and Nate Diaz. And let's take a look at the damage that was done and how that fight ended. And then let's take a look at a fight between Nate Diaz and Leon Edwards. And let's take a look at what happened in that fight and the way that fight ended. That's a big factor here. That's a huge factor here. Because Leon has something to prove. Although he's 10-0, he's got things to prove. He's got to prove to the fans that he's that guy. All right? Yeah. He's already got a loss against Usman. Now, it happened a long time ago, but Usman handled him and was not the fighter that he is now. Now, I'm not saying that Leon Edwards is the same fighter. He's a better fighter today. But, look, he's got to start finishing fights. He's got to start putting guys on their heels and putting them away. And he couldn't do that to Diaz. And in the 5th round, he was in trouble. He was on his heels. He was in a bad way and could have been finished in that fight. And so this fight against Masvidal will say everything. Yeah. I mean, it's really going to come down to whether – I don't even think he needs to get a finish. He just needs to beat him. That's it. Like, when you're fighting the best guys,
top
guys.
Against Masvidal, but he needs to be impressive in the way he does it. He needs to be impressive.
I don't know.
He needs to be impressive.
I understand where you're coming from. I do. But it's hard to continue on this onslaught of him winning and winning and winning, and you're fighting some of the top guys. You just keep beating them. His last loss was to Usman. It's like, okay, what are we doing here? Let's get him up there. And I get it. And George just fought for the title. And so he's fought 2 times for the title in the amount of time that it's taken Leon Edwards to get 1 title shot. And I'm a Masvidal fan, man. Die hard. He's an OG. I've always been a big fan of his. And so I understand, but I want to see Leon get to that title shot.
Look, did you see the fight that George Masvidal had against Nate Diaz?
Yeah.
Did you see what he was doing in that fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
did you see the fight that Leon Edwards had against Nate Diaz?
Yeah.
There's your difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I get what you're saying. I do.
That's it.
I mean, that's the thing.
I'm not putting him down in any way. He just has to. He's got to go. He's got to put it out there. He's got to go after it.
Yeah. We're going to see it.
Yeah.
I guess we're going to find out.
Next story, and last story is the announcement of Giga versus Calvin Kattar.
Ooh, we talked about this one.
Yeah,
look at that. We are matchmakers for the UFC. I love those guys.
I said this is the fight to make. Giga beaten Barboza last and was up in the rankings, but it's still not as high as Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar coming off of a loss to Max Holloway, giving himself time to heal up, letting his brain heal, let his body heal, let his mentality get back on track, try to get into training, I wouldn't say reinvent himself, but to make the adjustments that he needed to make after that last fight. I think it's been long enough. He's ready to get in there. Giga's been active, so the two of them together makes perfect sense. And so this was the fight that I had suggested. I was like, hey, you're going to either have a star be born with Giga in terms of getting up into that top 5 or 6 in the ranking systems, or Kattar's going to come back and show that the fight against Max
was a one-off, and he's going to go back into dominating the way he was dominating before he fought Max. So I think to me, it's a win-win. When I was talking about this fight, I was like, for the fans, it's a win-win because both of them are phenomenal on the feet. Calvin Kattar can wrestle, though.
Yep.
Calvin Kattar will shoot if he needs to. Calvin Kattar has that ability.
Not only will shoot, needs to shoot.
Yeah, I think he needs to just to mix it up.
Just to make him have to think about it. There you go.
That's it. Yep. And I think the rest of it will all open up. I give advantage to Kattar because he's the more well-rounded fighter.
This is one of the things that when we talked about the Edson Barbosa, and you watched what Giga, and I can tell you, I talked about this with Rafael Cordero, his coach. I said, man, I went into that saying that they were both, equally fast. I would actually have probably given, from what I'd been seeing, I said, when Giga was in glory, and I watched him, and he was fantastic and he was fast, but his thoughts of the takedown and the way he stands, it slows him up a little bit. Well, then he fought Edson Barbosa, and he didn't even consider the takedown. He just fought it like he used to be in that kickboxing realm. Well, we'll see what he does with Kattar, because Kattar needs to make him actually have the feeling that I will take you down. He has to have that at least in the back of his mind, that I need to at least recognize this and have an idea of what I'm going to do, and have to deal with it, because it'll make him just a little bit slower. But this is a great matchup. Chikadze's done such a great job of coming up, and he looks great right now. That last performance against Edson was phenomenal. If he gets a big win like that against Kattar, woohoo! Look out.
Yeah, but when he gets if he gets a win over Kattar, the guys that are in that top four, they've got some good wrestling. They've got some good submissions.
Yep.
They're more well-rounded fighters.
Yeah.
So he's going to struggle, I think, when you get into those top four guys. But it still makes for fun.
It's still fun.